As the tension diffuses a bit, Matt reaches into the candy bowl and manages to discreetly place the diamond back among the treats. ESF finds it, genuinely believing that Matt, being the stand-up guy he is, returned it out of goodwill. This little act of kindness made me think, could this be setting the stage for an epic team-up with Miss Marvel in the future? Imagine Yusuf knowing that Matt is really Daredevil. That would be such a cool dynamic down the line. Now let's switch gears and jump into episode 6. It kicks off with a BB report, traditionally highlighting safety in New York City, especially regarding how vigilantes impact the streets. In the opening scene, things get intriguing as we're introduced to a figure labeled the Swordsman. This connects back to Jack Duquesne from the Hawkeye series. Yeah, the guy who was dating Kate Bishop's mom. It looks like he's out there trying to protect citizens as a vigilante, but we'll explore that angle later. Things take a dark turn when construction workers stumble upon a body washed ashore, eyes plucked out. Yikes! Right after, we see a worker trying to scrub off some graffiti, which is actually the work of Muse. This guy has quite the twisted reputation. He gets rid of people and turns their blood into gruesome murals. In this case, he painted a scene depicting Kingpin in a rather ironic pose, kissing the rear of a bull, with a dollar bill tucked away in the bull's backside. It's crystal clear that Muse views Kingpin as a corrupt figure, prioritizing wealth over humanity, setting the stage for this character to play a significant role later. Now, we hit a pivotal moment in Matt's character development. He's praying. This is a significant scene, since it shows how he's been out of touch with that part of himself for some time. In his prayer, 2 lines stand out. Make us steadfast in the pursuit of justice, capturing Matt's ongoing struggle to uphold justice despite the system's flaws. He's wrestling with this idea of needing to revert to being Daredevil when the system fails him. Another poignant line is about having merciful justice through Christ the Lord. Matt is desperately trying to cling to the belief that the system can work, all while looking back on his losses, especially Foggy's death, which has shaken his faith in justice. When Heather, a familiar face in his life, pipes up, "Oh, you're praying? You're still praying, even after everything that happened?" Matt replies nonchalantly, "Yeah, I like to check in." This shows that, even when shaken, he still holds on to his beliefs. Heather transitions into discussing her next book, which will explore vigilantes and the complex issues surrounding them. She questions whether the masks we wear allow us to truly reveal ourselves or if they turn us into something primal. This strikes a chord with Matt. He knows that the line between Matt Murdock and Daredevil is becoming harder to maintain, leading to that inevitable question of his identity. When Heather mentions wanting an interview with the Punisher, Matt can't help but chuckle. After all, they have quite the history, and he just ran into Frank recently. Then, the conversation shifts to Daredevil, and it's clear that the vigilante aspect is creeping more and more into his personal life. Meanwhile, we cut to Luca barging into Kingpin's fancy mayoral office. If you remember, Luca is the guy behind that botched bank heist aimed at getting the diamond to appease Kingpin. Now he's there because he's fed up and tells Kingpin straight up, "I'm not paying you the $1.8 million. Kingpin, not one to take threats lightly, fires back, "Well, guess what? It's now $2.8 million, and I want $1 million for myself." When Luca finds that he's backed into a corner, he stands his ground, saying, "You're out of the game. Don't come back." But Kingpin's got a different plan. Instead of fading away, this is the motivation that reignites his reign as the crime boss. So originally, Thunderbolts was going to kick off with John Walker as the main villain. Imagine Captain America as a ticking time bomb, ready to explode. In fact, the early drafts even teased him transforming into a monstrous super soldier at the end, kind of like a darker, more intense version of his Captain America, Brave New World arc. But Disney and Marvel decided, nah, that's too predictable, and instead they switched gears mid-creative process. They brought in Sentry, that ultra-powerful hero who's basically Marvel's answer to, what if Hulk couldn't be contained? And honestly, I'm glad they made that change, because that plotline would have been a ticking time bomb, literally. You'd be waiting for John Walker to suddenly snap and go full monster, which would have made the entire team's mission all about stop the Hulk but evil, instead of the rich story we got. Plus, no one wants another rage monster hero unless it's Thor's Mighty Thor, and even then, it's a fine line. Can you imagine if Walker had gone full Hulk mode? Probably would have been more explosive than a Chitauri invasion. And Marvel's team would be like, do we call the Avengers or the Ghostbusters? What might have been? Now, here's the kicker. What if the original King the Conqueror scene had stayed in? What if Marvel had decided to shimmy a scene with King and the Thunderbolts post-credits? Well, it could have set the stage for the multiversal chaos we're now experiencing, hinting at the bigger plans for the MCU. Imagine it. King lurking in the shadows, pulling strings, maybe even fighting with or against Doctor Doom in the background. Think about the implications. It would have been a direct link to Ant-Man 3, and Marvel could have teased a bigger war between these two conquerors. Or, considering the timeline, maybe they were already debating whether they should save King for later and focus on Doom, who's more sinister and fits perfectly into the Secret Wars storyline. Marvel's writers probably had a conference call. Do we go with King or Doom? Let's flip a coin, and whichever villain lands face up gets the scene. Here's the real question. What happens now with Kang? We saw him play such a huge role in Phase 4 and 5, especially with the TVA messing with the multiverse, but then Marvel seemed to back away from him. Rumors are swirling that Marvel's team might be reconsidering Kang for future projects. But then TMZ came out swinging, claiming Marvel has no plans to revisit Kang anytime soon. Maybe Marvel executives are just quietly hiding behind the camera, whispering, maybe we'll reboot Kang later, or maybe not. It's like Kangnasia, absent but lurking in the background, waiting to pop up when you least expect it. And honestly, the TVA, Deadpool, Wolverine, and even Loki tease us that Kang isn't dead. He's just waiting in the wings. The question is, how do they explain his absence? Will they say, oh, he just took a vacation in the multiverse? Or will they reintroduce him with a bigger, badder plan? I guess we'll find out. So what's next? Well, Marvel's definitely setting up Doom to be the big bad for the next phase, especially with Robert Downey Jr.'s rumored return as Doom, and Kevin Feige's 4D chess plans for Secret Wars. But here's the juicy part. They might have been considering both Kang and Doom simultaneously during early scripts, like Marvel was trying to test drive two villains before picking the ultimate one. Can you see the Marvel writers flipping a coin about which villain to use? Heads for Kang, tails for Doom. Oh wait, we need to make hot cocoa first. Classic Marvel procrastination. And don't forget, Doom fits perfectly as the master villain in the Secret Wars saga, especially since he's such a perfect foil for multiple heroes and universes colliding. So even if Kang is taking a back seat for now, their storylines are wildly interconnected,